So today we're going to be talking about something that is a little different from what I usually talk about, and that is the topic of stretch marks. I was inspired by someone on Tumblr to get involved with this conversation because I think it's something that really needs to be talked about. When I was a teenager, I didn't really understand what stretch marks were and how they came about. I was very confused when I started getting my own stretch marks because I didn't understand the context in which I was getting them. Today I'm going to talk about my stretch marks in particular because I think it's something that needs to be talked about amongst young people like myself. I'm only 20 years old and I do have stretch marks, and that is completely okay, I should say, as a first note. I'll start by talking about when I got them, what I first thought about them, why I was confused, and then I'll talk about how I feel about them now, and then I'll show you guys my actual stretch marks, and then we'll wrap up the video. So I started getting stretch marks about 3.5 years ago when I was about 17, 18 years old. I first got them on the insides of my thighs, and I didn't really understand what they were at first. I initially thought that they were scars from when I was younger because when I was on the playground in primary school, I fell over and scraped the insides of my thighs very, very badly. So I just kind of ignored them because I just thought they were scars from when I was younger, which I was very wrong about, I should point out. I then became quite confused because I found out what they were, and I'd always associated them with pregnancy or extreme weight gain. I've always stayed within the UK sizes 8 to 12. I tend to fluctuate a little bit between those three, but I've always stayed within those. So I've never significantly gained any sort of weight, or I've never been pregnant. I've never done any of those things. So I was always confused about why I had them in the first place, and thus I became really self-conscious about them. I didn't like looking at them, I didn't like that they were there. I kind of tried to brush them off and pretend that they didn't exist. As time then progressed, I started getting more stretch marks, especially within the last year or so. I've had some more stretch marks on the outsides of my thighs and then along my hips. They don't bother me anymore. I'm completely at peace with my stretch marks. I think that they're just something that happen, and I think that in general it's a good topic to kind of talk about because at my age, a lot of people don't think about stretch marks. And like I did, I assumed that I wouldn't have to worry about these kinds of things until I was a lot older or until I was ready to start a family. And clearly they've kind of reared their head earlier than I was expecting, and I think that is something that needs to be talked about amongst young people as well. A lot of young people are put under a lot of pressure to be pretty and to be amazing and to kind of be this perfect model of young adulthood, and that's just not the case a lot of the time. As far as I'm concerned, it's okay to have stretch marks. I'm happy with mine now. I wasn't for a long time, but I've kind of accepted them as part of who I am because they don't define me as a person. Your stretch marks don't define you, just like mine don't define me. I define me as the things that I've experienced, the things that I do, and the person that I have become over time. At the end of the day, stretch marks don't make you less of a person. They don't make you less interesting. They don't make you less human. They prove that you've been through stuff. They prove that you've done stuff. Maybe you've put on weight. Maybe you've had a baby. That's not something that we should be ashamed of, and it's sad that society looks at it like that. So I'll show you the stretch marks on the hips. I don't think you want to see in between my legs. Even though I don't need to show you guys my stretch marks, I still want to show you some of them just because I think that it's good to start talking about them and start being honest with ourselves and with our own bodies. Okay, so these are my stretch marks. Are fairly small, the ones on my legs are much larger, but I thought that you guys should see them just because it gives you an idea of what my body is going to look like now and in future videos, because they're not going to go anywhere and I'm perfectly happy with them. I think that they are just a part of my body, like my tattoos and my piercings. I think it's good to talk about these kinds of things because then the people that do have stretch marks, the people that do have bodily imperfections, they don't feel alone and they don't feel like they are in fact imperfect. Every person's body is completely different to another's. That's all I have for you guys today. Give me a like, subscribe, comment if you have anything to add. This is a really important discussion and I'd be really interested to know what you guys think. Remember to subscribe, and I will see you guys later.